Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I got a brand new guest for you guys, Pittsburgh Picker. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us today.
And thanks for having
Go
me.
ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. Let everybody know who you are. Obviously, you're from Pittsburgh, where you're
Yeah,
from, and
that's true.
let them know what it is that you do.
My name's Adam, and yeah, you're right. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I've just been we're full time resellers. We've been full time resellers for uh 4 months now, and we've been resellers for about a year and a half in total. So we've been doing that primarily eBay, but we just got into Poshmark, Facebook, and Macari. So we're expanding slowly but surely.
Okay, cool. So you're a full time reseller, right?
Yeah, I have another business. I'm a landscaper, so I do that still part time. I can't I can't just leave my customers high and dry. They've been so good to me. So I kind of condense that business down to like 2 days a week, and then the rest of the time we're all reselling. So, and
All right.
my fiance is completely full time. So
Okay, awesome. So how did you guys get started into reselling? I'm just curious, like what got you started into doing this, and how long have you been resellers now?
little over a year and a half total, and we got into it. It's interesting story. We My mom used to work at a storage facility, and when people defaulted on their units, they would auction them off. Well, the guy who bought one of these units actually uh left some stuff behind, and she knew him real well, so she just decided to help the guy out. And he's like, hey, can you throw some of this stuff away? And she's like, yeah, I can do that. And so she went in and looked, and it was all these little like hand carved Native American statues, and she sent them to us, and we're like, yeah, we'll try to sell them on eBay. And we did, and we made quite a bit of money off of it. And we're like, we could probably do this full time. So we did, and ever since then we've been selling full time, or well, selling on eBay, not full time at that point.
Yeah, okay, awesome. And how long has it been total since you guys have been resellers?
Year and a half.
Okay, awesome. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
So you guys are full-time resellers now, except you're doing your landscaping business. How many days a week do you do your landscaping business?
Just 2 days. My fiance helps me out with it a little bit, so but only 2 days a week. The rest of the time we're resellers. And you know how it is being a reseller. It's not like when you're doing something else that everything stops on the reselling end. You're still sending offers, you're still, Sarah lists things while she's riding in the truck. I mean, it's a full-time gig. We work 60 plus hours a week at reselling, so we're full time as far as I'm concerned. It's just the landscaping company's guaranteed money, and we have things to do with them. And like I said, my customers are some of the best customers in the world, so I could never just leave them. You still there? I think we lost them.
Can you hear me? I'm right here. I don't know
You.
if you can hear me or not. Right here.
No,
No, I
I
was
couldn't
just
hear
asking you. I said, where do you guys do most of your sourcing at? Because I was watching one of your recent videos, and you guys said that you were doing some Amazon customer returns, but you stopped doing that. So where do you guys do most of your sourcing at right now?
Well, the primary sources are auctions. We do a lot of like auctions, either in person or online. And then we have a few guys that we buy from locally that do clean outs and do storage auctions and stuff like that. And then we also go to thrift stores and Goodwill bins, and some of our local thrift stores. The Pittsburgh market is really good for stuff like that. There are certain things that we're terrible at. And, I see Atlanta Flippers here, and when I was talking to him about it a while ago, that this area is just horrendous for shoes, and it is. It's just one of the worst areas for shoes. But the rest of the stuff, there was a very old population in this town, so it's still filtering down through, and so we've got a lot of really cool vintage stuff. And there's a lot of collectors in the area too. So, we do get some pretty good stuff going through the Pittsburgh area. So that's primarily auctions, is where we get like our high dollar stuff, and then, Goodwills and things like that for like clothing. We do a lot of clothing and Cabbage Patches, as you can see behind my head.
Okay, cool. We're live. Let me say hello here to a few people in the chat.
Sure.
I wanted to say hey to Marcus is here. Dixon
Hey,
Fixins. I think he was on. I saw him earlier this morning. I think he was on with Johnny, Cajun Roots Reseller. And I wanted to say hey to the ATL Flipper is here. He says, "What's up, everybody?" And I wanted to say hey to Ed, the reselling writer. Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. So I'm kind of curious. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like? Because you buy storage units, you said as well. You kind of give us a little bit of a rundown of how that. You don't do any now?
No, we buy from people that do buy them though. A few of our guys, like everybody has, their guy, and one of the guys that we buy from, he buys storage units, and he gives us. He buys them, he stores them, and we pick through them and buy things. So that's we've gone that road before. The biggest problem we have with buying storage units, the only reason we don't do it, is our storage where our house is limited. This room and then our basement is pretty much just shelving. So with the stuff, with product for eBay, and so if we bought one, we wouldn't have anywhere to put all the stuff to be able to sort through it. So we've thought about it, but we've never done it.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering because sometimes it's feast or famine. Sometimes you do well, and sometimes you get in there and it's just a bunch of junk,
And the guy that we buy from all the time, he's fallen victim to that, and he hasn't. He's had home runs that were just incredible. I mean, we're still picking through one of his things that just has been absolutely incredible for him and for us. So, but then a couple months ago, he bought one and it was mostly junk. And he picked like 4 or 5 bins out of it, and that was pretty much the only things that weren't junk. So that's another reason we don't really want to get into it, because it can be really awful.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way it is when you're like a modern day treasure hunter. Sometimes you're gonna come across good stuff, and sometimes it's just gonna bomb. So tell me a little bit about some of your experience, because like that's the way it goes sometimes. It's like I said, it's feast or famine. So you guys have got this Amazon customer return box, and you said it wasn't necessarily the best. So kind of take us behind the curtain and tell us a little bit about what that's like, because I haven't bought any customer return boxes because unless you get it at a very dirt cheap price, there's work involved, guys. There's work involved. Some of this stuff is, like I said, customer returns. It's broken. It's missing pieces. You're having to go through and test all the pieces, make sure everything is there. And some of the stuff, like I said, could be used, and some of the stuff is going to be, just garbage. So tell me a little bit about what that was like for you.
That was exactly that's exactly what happened. So this particular auction house had Amazon return boxes before, and the first time they had them, we didn't bid on any of them because we're like, this is too much of a risk. The second time they had them, we did, and one of them was literally labeled Amazon toy return. So we thought, we'll give it a shot, and we ended up getting it for like $20, and it was as big as the box that you saw in that previous video. And so we did not bad on it. I would say we tripled our money, and with Amazon returns, there's very few, if any, home runs, it seems. So it's mostly just $10 to $20 items that you're maybe making $5 or $6 on. But if you have a lot of them, that's good to have. But this one, so we thought, we'll buy again. It's same auction house, it's probably going to be pretty decent. It seemed like they're not pick through. So I ended up bidding on all of them. There was like, I don't know, 10 of them or something like that, and I bid on all of them, and I lost most of them. And like some guy paid like $90 a box, and I'm like, I can't do that. So I went as high as 60 on one of them, and I won one. And I'm glad I didn't win any of the other ones, because as you saw that last video, they were horrendous. It was a bunch of junk is really what it was. It was a bunch of broken junk, and the stuff that we did sell was $10, $12, $13, $14, and it wasn't. We definitely lost money on it, without a doubt, and that's why we just don't do it anymore. And we've tried the bin stores, because there was a bin store in Ohio that we went to that was one of those Amazon return bin stores, and again, found next to nothing. So it just doesn't seem like Amazon returns are really profitable.
Yeah, I was. There's another big YouTuber. I think his name is Franchise Kicks. Have you seen him before on YouTube? And he has a
Mhm.
really big YouTube channel. And it seems like every time he gets one of these big coffin boxes or coffin loads of these Amazon returns, like every time I watch him, it seems like 90% of the time they're like home runs that he makes a profit on them. And it's like everybody that I talk to that gets them, it's like I said, it's hit and miss. Either you're making money or you're losing money. There's
Yeah.
like no middle ground where you're just breaking even.
We've seen that too. We've seen people on YouTube buy, things from bulk and make big money on them. And we've seen, and I'm like, we've tried, and it does not work for it. It works. Like I said, that one box was decent, but it still wasn't, I mean, you pay $20 for a box and we made 60, and we profited 60, we made 100 total. And it just, I don't know. It's a lot of work for a very minor amount of profit, and it doesn't seem to me that it's the other big problem is you're competing directly with Amazon, because most of the stuff you have, it's on Amazon still, and so you're competing with Prime members. And so if you've got the same thing for sale for $15 and you're going to get it there in 4 days, or Prime can get it to them in 2 days, and neither one of you are paying for shipping, it seems like the margins just gets thinner and thinner and thinner. So it's just not my thing.
Can you just give me 1 second, please? I apologize. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, take time.
I apologize. My regular day job texted me and they wanted to send me to work. And my girlfriend, she broke her leg recently and she had to go have surgery on her leg. So she just texted me and said she just got out of the hospital. And she's like, "Why aren't you answering my phone call?" And I'm like, "I'm live on YouTube. I go live at 4:00. So I don't want, I don't want her to think it's like, yeah, no, I'm good. She's going to think it's like the end of the world. So she's probably going to tune in and curse me out in the comments section. So anyways,
at least it'll be entertaining.
Oh, for sure. So I apologize. I wanted to say hey to Twin Pillars is in the chat. Ed, the reselling writer, says, "I'm barely breaking even on my wholesale purchase. Got to be careful." And the ATL Flipper wants to know, what is your biggest flip ever? So what's some of the biggest flip finds that you've found recently or that you've had in the past?
The biggest to date was a 1912 Pennsylvania license plate. It was a 3-digit Pennsylvania license plate, sold for $2,100 or something like that, I think. It was a long time ago. And it was one of our very first, like within 3-4 months of us being on eBay. And so that's actually probably what solidified the bug of selling things on eBay. But that was our biggest. The biggest recently, we've had really good luck with those McDonald Fisher Price drive-throughs. They're like, it's a big toy. It's literally a little plastic drive-through that kids can play with, and we've flipped one of them for $275, and one of them we just sold for $150. So those were pretty cool, and a real pain to ship.
All right. How many items you have currently right now listed on your eBay store? Because I'm just curious. I'm trying to gauge it in case somebody else is on the fence and maybe they want to go full time, so they can get an idea of how many items they need to have listed in their store.
Our business model is slightly different than a lot of people that are on YouTube. We have 1,523 items. And that's we try to keep it around 1,600 because that's just seems to be the sweet spot for us. But our business model is a little different. A lot of people, I find, go for those big high dollar, high profit items. Ours is a little bit different. We sell a lot of $30, $40, $50 items. We're kind of in that, $20 to $50 range is the primary amount that we sell. We sell a lot of clothes. So that's, and dolls, as you can see, there's some Squishmallows behind my head and Cabbage Patches and stuff. So we try to be more like a volume seller. So we're selling a typical day, like weekday, we're selling 15 items a day, and on a weekend it's between 20 and 40. So that's kind of our business model. We kind of modeled it after Walmart, I guess. Sell as much as you can, as fast as you can, for slightly less money. So
I'm with you. Yeah, I try to I'm a higher volume seller. I have 6,500 items right now listed.
Wow.
And I'm trying to get to 10,000 items, but just, their stuff's going on. Just like I said, it's called life. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I try to sell a higher volume of items, even if it's only, 10, 15, $20 items, $30 items, because these items that you pay $1 for and they sell for
Mhm.
25, $30, they all add up. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you sold one item for, you paid $10 for and you sold it for $100 versus, let's say I sold, 5 items, or let's say I sold 10 items and I made $10 profit on those 10 items, I would still be making the same $100 you did. It's
Right.
just that you only had to ship out one package, where I had to ship out 10.
Well,
So
and the
I, I noticed that a large majority of the sales on eBay, like 90% of the sales on eBay, are items that are like $30 and below. So
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying there's not home run items out there. You're going to come across $50 or $100 items, but how many of them are you going to sell a day? You know what I mean?
Right. And they take
Versus,
longer to sell typically. The more expensive stuff, like we had this denim, it's literally a denim like suit. Like you think of like a regular, formal suit, but instead it's denim. And we had one of those and it was on there for $100, and we knew it would sell eventually because it was a popular thing, but it took a month to sell. Whereas these little, the Nike shirts we sell, and the Nike and the running tights and all that stuff that we sell, they're selling for $20 to $30. We're making $10 a piece on them, or $15 a piece on them, but they're selling every day. We're getting 4 or 5, 6 sales of those a day. So I like that, and you're with me. So
yeah,
that's
well,
just the way I like to
like,
run the business.
well, what I've been looking for, like, for example, I have this one DVD and I have 600 copies of this one DVD. So I just listed it and put quantity of 600 in the listing, and I'm selling them for $20 a piece. And I've been selling about 4 or 5 of them a week. And
Yeah,
the same item just resells over and over and over again. And I'm
yeah,
not having to sit here and scan 600 individual SKUs into my listing. I just listed it one time, and then I
right.
just sit back and let that item sell over and over and over again.
And
So
it's
it's
a
like if I
no-brainer
sold
to
five
ship
of
too.
them, yeah, if I sold 5 of them a week, yeah, it ships medium. If I ship 5 of them a week times $20, it's $100, and I've got less than a quarter a piece tied up in them. I mean, maybe a nickel if that.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
both business models work. It all depends on if you do the work. You're like the secret ingredient.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
right.
And it keeps you busy too. That's what I like about it, is that every day I'm shipping, every day we're listing, every day we're doing something. So rather than, if we've got, 500, $100 items and we're selling 2 a week, I'm going to get bored real quick.
Well, it
So,
just it just all depends. Like, for example, I was watching another YouTuber, the Flippin' Accountant today. I don't know if you've
mhm,
subscribed to his channel,
he's
but he
good.
just went today and he went to this place and bought like 330 video games. They were all brand new into shrink wrap, and he paid $1 a piece for them. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to send them into Amazon, and eventually, when they all sell through, I'm going to make $1,000 profit." But he bought 335 of them, and they were all one SKU. It was one SKU. So he didn't have to go and scan in
Yeah.
300 individual SKUs. He just scanned in one SKU and say, okay, I have a quantity of 300 in this listing, and then just wait for them to sell through.
Yeah.
So,
See,
like I said, go ahead.
our last big bulk deal was Nike, Puma, Under Armour, activewear. And unfortunately, they're all different, but we have tons of it. And it's so easy to sell because, number one, it's light, it's easy to ship. You throw it in, poly bag and you're done. And on top of it, it's something that people are looking for, and if they can buy it for $25 from us, they're not going to go to Dick's and buy it for, 80 or whatever the markup is, because it's crazy. That stuff is crazy expensive, especially when it's brand new. So that was kind of we unfortunately didn't do that. We can't do the one SKU, so we do have to list them individually, which is a little bit more work. But the back end of that, the shipping is easy, sale is easy. Most people, just want to know measurements is really all they want to know. So you don't get a lot of questions. It's pretty cut and dry.
All right, awesome. Let me say hello here real quick to the Cap guy is in the house. He says,
How's it
hit the
going?
like button. He says, hey, Jeff and gang. And I wanted to say hey to Ed, the reselling writer. He says, I think most resellers, at least non-YouTube ones, do quantity over high quality ones. It'd be great, but it's hard to find sometimes. Well,
For
like I
sure.
said, both business models work. Like, there are some people that I've talked to and they sell shoes and they pay, $20 for a pair of shoes at Ross. And then maybe they could turn around and sell them for $100, $150, $200, and then pay zero fees because they're
Mhm.
athletic shoes over $100. So that
Right.
business model works great for them. And the cool thing about it is they're paying zero fees, and they don't have to do a lot of cleaning or testing of the item. They just go home and, take photographs of the shoe and then post it online and then box it up and ship it out when it sells. So like I said, both business models work. Just depends on what you want to do. So you sell a lot of clothing, you said. Do you do a lot of shopping at the Goodwill bins?
We were. Our bins, when we first started in this, our bins was great. It was one of the cleanest. It was nice. It was home. So we used to go all the time, and bins are good for YouTube too, because people were looking for their videos. So we used to go all the time, but lately, it seems like the resellers have kind of caught on to our bins. So it's always so crowded, and you get the people that spend 8 hours a day there with their carts sitting on the corner, and it's not a great use of our time anymore. So we still go from time to time, because it's as much as I hate to say this, it's fun. We really enjoy it. So we do go, but it's not our primary anymore. It can't be, because we're not. I can find something better to do with 8 hours of my day than sit at the Goodwill bins and still make money. So that's,
I haven't been in a long time, but if I was going to go, I wouldn't go for 8 hours. I would stop by for 45 minutes, an hour, look and see what you can get. Try to go there, fill your cart up, and get in and get out. Like, not everything that you put your hands on is going to be a home run, but it's okay. Like if you filled your cart up and you were paying, by the pound, you're paying $1 a piece per item, and you filled your whole car up in an hour, your whole shopping cart up, it would be worth it. You just have to double check to make sure that all the stuff is still in good condition.
Yeah, we've been lucky with our local Goodwills, just the regular Goodwills lately. We've managed to find some pretty good clothing, and video that's coming out later today is us. They sent us a 40% off coupon on Labor Day of all clothing. So we just blasted through Goodwill on Monday and grabbed as much as we could, and that's kind of what's been keeping us, in the clothing business, because we started off selling jeans, because this one thrift store down the street from our house would sell jeans on Saturday. Everything in one color would be 50% off. So they were all about $6. Like Levi's were about $6, and then when it went 50% off, they were all $3. So we were like, so we would go there and we'd spend $200-300 in jeans, and we'd have a cart and a half full of jeans, and we were just like, okay. And if you look, the black shelves behind me still have some up there, but and that's how we started. But then they caught on, and all of a sudden all their jeans went from $6 to $12, and now it's we're priced out at that point.
I was going to say, I had the same thing happen to me. I used to sell blue jeans. Basically, I would sell Levi's, like men's Levi's blue jeans, and I would look for the ones like with a red tag, especially, and they all have different numbers. It would be like 505 or 515 or whatever it is, and you have to keep an eye on them. And I would pick them up for $1 or $2 at the thrift stores, especially these mom and pop thrift stores. And I would just get a ton of blue jeans, and then eventually one day I went in there and they raised the price of them up overnight. So I mean, you go from paying $1 or $2 a pair of blue jeans, and now they're $5, $6, $7, and then you're trying to turn around and sell them for $20, $25. There's not quite enough margin there, because you have to understand you're going to have to pay your shipping fees. You have to pay, your cost of goods is going to be taken out of that, your eBay fees. So there's got to be enough margin in there for it to be worth it.
We started off the same way, Levi's, and we were selling Levi's like crazy. And then we actually expanded a little and started selling American Eagle, because they were good sellers for us. They weren't quite as high dollar as Levi's. Like Levi's would sell for $25 to $28, American Eagle right below it at like 20-ish, but the thrift stores had them at like $4. So we were buying them for $2, and we were selling them like crazy. And then same thing happened. We went back in, and now they're up to $9. And we're like, the one thing but see, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you're in Tampa, so your area shoes are inexpensive. I mean, because my area shoes are terrible. Like the pricing on shoes is just awful.
Yeah, the good thing is where I live at in Tampa is it's warm down here year round. So they have yard sales and estate sales year round, and there's a lot of retired people. And so what happens is there's a lot of retired people that will pass away, and they'll have estate sales year round, and they have yard sales pretty much year round down here, unless it's like hurricane season or pouring down rain. But for the most part, they have those type of things year round. But there's literally no shortage of merchandise. I would go and get a lot of merchandise from pawn shops, Dollar Trees,
Yeah.
Walmart clearance. I mean, if you just go out hunting for it, you'll find it. I mean, you know, you
Yeah.
can't.
My fiance hits Walmart hard most of the time, and she's been stocking Squishmallows lately, but the
Yeah,
clearance sections have just been really good. We got a bunch of really cool back to school stuff on clearance, and those are the kind of things you end up hanging on to. And if you sell them between now and next back to school year, that's great. But if not, they're going to go. But yeah, like, but to give you an example, so like when I walk into a thrift store here, I'll see like a pair of Jordans, like used pair of Jordans, probably like early 2000s, we'll say, and they're asking $44 for them. So shoes are just not, in my wheelhouse. But every now and again we get lucky and we buy shoes and then we sell them, and I'm like, I need to find more shoes. So the long and short of the story is we're looking to plan a trip to the southern states, because it seems like Atlanta, Florida, Georgia, Georgia and Florida, they just, it seems like your thrift stores have a lot of shoes, and I
yeah.
just stock up on shoes and bring them back.
I'm sure that you can find stuff at thrift stores, but also if you go to like Ross or Marshalls or TJ Maxx, those places, they sell shoes there all day long, and you just have to, be there at the right time at the right place. I'm kind of lazy a little bit of as a reseller because I don't want to do a lot of cleaning. I don't like doing a lot of testing. I don't like to do a lot of the elbow grease because what do they say? Profits over projects. Like I
Right.
want to come home. I like getting probably 90% of my merchandise. I like getting the stuff that's still new in the plastic. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I grab this item. Let's say it's a DVD, Blu-ray video game. It's easy for me to scan the barcode, take a picture front and back, list it, then I'm through with it. But
Yeah.
to a lot of other people, if you can find them cheap enough, let's say you find a pair of Jordans for $5 and you want to sell them for 80, 90, or $100, and you don't mind cleaning the dirt off of them, that's great. But I still have my income from my full-time job, and so when I'm not doing that, I would like to be quick and easy. Like
Oh
for
yeah.
example, I would buy a whole box of CDs. I get 1,000 CDs for $380. So my buy cost is 38 cents a piece, and I'm
Right.
selling them between $15 and $20 a piece. So
Yeah.
you can do the math. Let's say $15 times 1,000 is what, $15,000 worth of merchandise, and
Mhm.
I'm in them for less than $400. So to me, I can do that all day long because I'm
Yeah.
paying zero insertion fee. So what happens is at the end of the 30 days, your item doesn't sell, it'll auto relist and you pay zero fees.
Right.
And so stuff like that, that's kind of what I've been looking into doing, is buying more stuff in bulk and then kind of parting it out, buying it wholesale and then parting it out,
Yeah.
selling them off individually. So, hey, since you've been a full-time reseller now, do you have maybe 2 or 3 tips or piece of advice that you could give our audience that's listening?
Yeah, probably.
Go
My
ahead.
first one is find your niche. Find something that you enjoy selling and also about. Like I talk to new resellers all the time, and my biggest thing is and I started the YouTube channel to help people, and that's exactly what I'm that's why I do what I do. But what I do may not work for you, or what I do may not work in your area. Like, for instance, we were just talking about the shoes. I would love to be a shoe reseller and just have bins and bins of shoes behind me, but I can't because they're just so overpriced in the area. But, and find your niche. I mean, we have a couple of them. You can see my fiance enjoys Cabbage Patches right here, and I enjoy more of the electronics type thing. And I don't mind doing the testing because then I can sit in my room or sit in this room and play some video games that I used to play in my early teens. But that's my biggest thing, is find your niche. Don't go off of what everybody else is doing, because there's 2 reasons that may or may not work. Is that if everybody else is doing it, the market's flooded. So that's my primary one, is find your niche and do what sell what you know. So,
Right.
and then
So
the other one
you
is
gotta,
just be smart. Just be smart about it, but don't overextend yourself. I've had a bunch of people say that they just got in a little bit of trouble.
yeah, my big thing is just getting the stuff listed. It's easy to go out and do all the fun part, hunting and finding the merchandise. But if you don't get it listed, you're not really a reseller.
Yeah.
You're turning into like a hoarder at that point. You're gonna be like
Well,
those A&E shows because you just have a big, huge death pile, and you've got to figure out a way to get the stuff listed because
right.
no one can buy it if they don't get it listed.
Yeah, and the live that I dropped in on, the last one, that I don't know if it was your last one, but the one I dropped in on, where we were talking about how when you talk to other people that have a 9 to 5 job, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a reseller, I sell things on eBay and other sites, and they all think the same thing, that we just go out and buy stuff and then we list it and it magically sells and we just lay around the rest of the time and be lazy. And I'm like, no, it's a 60+ hour a job. Like it's every day, all day of your life. You know, you may be sitting on the couch relaxing, watching television, but your phone's going off. You're getting offers. You're getting, messages from buyers. You're getting a return request, or, something didn't show up or something like that. So it's not an easy job. And that's probably my third piece of advice is don't think this job is, an easy job. You still have to work at it. It beats working for anybody else. Don't get me wrong, but it's still a lot of work. I think I work more now than I did when I worked 9 to 5.
Yeah, well, it's just you're sending out offers to watchers. You're constantly doing something, whether you're dealing with a customer that wants a return, or like I had this DVD I shipped out to this customer and it was new in the package, and I guess somehow during shipping it came out of its little cradle that holds it in there. So he says the disc is damaged. I'm like, bro, I shipped it. It was new in the shrink wrap. There was nothing wrong with it. I was like, why don't you put it in the DVD player and see if it actually works? And he's like, okay. Like 2-3 days later, he didn't even put it in the DVD player. And he's like, well, I think I saw a scratch on it. I want to return. And I was like, all right, dude. It's like I literally paid maybe 50 cents for this item. I'm not going to argue with you over 10, 15 bucks. So I just, I didn't want to pay to have it shipped back to me, because if it was, he already opened it up. It's not in new condition anymore. And if it is damaged, I don't want to resell a damaged item. So I just, had to cancel the order and give the customer a refund and move on. It's not worth, because you have to think, because the guy gave me positive feedback. It's not worth being in this arm wrestling match with a guy over a $10 item, $15 item. Sometimes you just have to let it go and keep your 100% positive feedback and move on. Because I didn't damage the item. The customer didn't damage it. It must have just got loose somehow in shipping. So, I want the customer to be happy, and my goal is to try to have repeat customers. So sometimes you got to do things to keep your customers happy, because in the future, they may buy from you again. They may come back and buy 2 or 3 items from you next time. You never know. Yeah. But
I had a very similar thing happen to me. We bought 2 pairs of designer sunglasses. One was Prada and the other one was Michael Kors. And as I was cleaning the Michael Kors ones, I actually scratched the lens. There was something on like the little cleaning wipe that I had, and it actually put a scratch in the lens, and we listed it, saying they were damaged. We actually took a picture of the scratch with my fiance's finger in it pointing at the scratch, put it in the description that they are scratched, and they were $50 sunglasses. We could have sold them for $50, and we sold them, we put them on for 15. So this guy buys it. 2 days go by, 3 days go by. He finally gets them. He's like, these are damaged. There's a big scratch in the lens. And I'm like, it's in the description. There's a picture of it. There's actually a picture of it with us pointing at it. And he's like, yeah, but you didn't say it was a bad scratch. And I'm like, and it's same thing applied. Like I could go back and forth with this guy all day and say that we did what we were supposed to do, or I could just refund him his $15 and move on with my life. And that's what I did.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is sometimes you got to understand, like, we're not in a battle with with the people that's buying stuff from you. You want to have repeat customers, and you want customers to be happy, and you don't want to have negative feedback and have all this stuff on your account over a small discrepancy. Just got to let it go sometimes.
So you're 100% too?
Yeah.
Positive. Are you really, really particular about keeping that like I am? Because every time I get one, I'm like, no, I need to do something about this.
Yeah, well, I had somebody left me a neutral feedback, and their neutral comment was good. That was their comment. So I went back. They just left it as a neutral by accident, and I was like, no. So I had, instead of me calling eBay, there's a feature on the help section, and you can just request eBay to have it removed. But yeah, I offer free returns. So that way, if something does happen, if I do get a neutral or negative feedback, usually 9 times out of 10, eBay will side with me to have it removed. But yeah, I try really hard, because let's say if me and you are both selling, let's say we're both selling this calculator, for example, or both selling it for the same price, same everything, same shipping costs and everything else. But the only difference is I have 95% feedback and you have 100. Who are they going to buy from? They have the same item, it's identical, except you have 100% feedback and I don't. They're going to buy from you. So, like I said, that's your online reputation. But anyways, Adam, I kind of wanted to get into your YouTube channel a little bit because it sounds like you're here on YouTube for the same reason I am, is that you wanted to try to help people. And that's kind of when I got started to begin with as well, is I wanted to start a YouTube channel to help other people like me, because I actually got started reselling from watching a YouTuber. I was watching this guy, and his YouTube channel was called Gill Daddy. It was him and his wife, and they would go to the Goodwill bins and they would buy this stuff at the Goodwill bins for pennies on the dollar and turn around and resell it on eBay. And when I saw they were talking about, hey, we're making $1,000, $1,500 profit in a short amount of time, I was like, wait a minute, like there's got to be something to this. Sign me up, you know. And so now I'm kind of trying to, since they don't make YouTube videos anymore, so I'm kind of trying to pass the buck forward and see if I can help other people out the way other YouTubers help me, you know?
Yeah. That's the same general. There was two reasons I got into it. And the first reason is I started watching Rally Roots was the first people that I kind of picked up, and when I googled make money on eBay, they were one of the few non salesy YouTube channels, because there's a bunch of the people that are just selling a product, saying, you want to learn how to make money on eBay, buy my book or whatever, and they were one of the first people that I saw. And then as I got into it, the next one I found was Commonwealth Picker / Flipper, and then Part-Time Pickers came shortly after that. And so I those three guys, though, pretty much single-handedly made our decision that we're going to do this. The reason I got into it was I think I do it a little differently. Not that what they're doing is wrong. I feel like everybody has their own thing, and that nobody's store should look the same. The biggest reason I got into it was that we're, like I said, a little different with how we do things, and it doesn't seem like, well, at the time, it didn't seem like there was a lot of YouTubers saying, hey, sell 40 pairs of Nike sweatpants at $20 a piece and make yourself a living. It seemed like everyone was like, either you're at that Rally Roots level where you're buying pallets of stuff, or you're at like the Commonwealth level where he knows every product that is going to make him $50-$60 a day. And then there's like me, where I'm like, I have no idea what this stuff is going to make me. I have to look everything up, so that's why we started it. And to be perfectly honest with you, there was Cincinnati Flipper was another one, and he had said something on one of his YouTube videos where he does his walk through his his warehouse and pick all his stuff up, and he had said that it would be really cool to see somebody that is just starting out in eBay start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So if you look at like my very, very first video, it's hysterical compared to where I am. Like, this room is empty. There's nothing in it, and I'm nervous wreck. So that's why I got into it.
So you hit your 1,000 subscribers. Did you get your watch time hours yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I hit 10,000 watch time hours at like 800 subscribers.
Okay, cool. So tell everybody you have a guest coming up soon. Tell them about your guest you have coming up soon on your channel.
Thursday is Rachel Strickland, the legendary Rachel Strickland. She'll be on Thursday, and then Sunday we just do me and my fiance's. We just do live, and we chat with everybody and try to catch up with the people that watch and so forth and so forth. So we do 2 a week, which is a lot, but it's still fun. We enjoy it. It's lots of fun. It's nice when you're making videos and people are commenting, but when you're in a live and you can actually interact with everybody, it's much better, I think. I mean, it brings you closer to your fan base, which is awesome. Yeah,
for sure. Hey, let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. Art Vandelay just stopped by. Hey, Art Vandelay. I wanted to say hey to Eblis Reseller stopped by. Says hey guys, Dave and Lori. Hey Eblis, hope you guys are doing well today. I wanted to say hey to Bika Resellers is here. What's up? I wanted to say hey to BK from the Rockies. I wanted to say hey to Reds Outpost Sharon. She says, I used to watch Gill Daddy too. Thanks for coming by and hanging out with us today, Sharon. Twin Pillar says, I did a partial refund and that was enough for one customer. And I wanted to say hey to Ed, the reselling writer, and the cap guy if he's still here. So tell me a little bit about, you do a lot of sourcing videos on your channel as well?
2 a week. Monday and Tuesday are the 2 sourcing videos we do. And then Wednesday and Friday are what sold. Thursday's alive, Sunday's alive, and I don't do anything on Saturdays.
All
I
right.
take a
Now,
break.
yeah, I'm with you. There's a couple days a week, usually like this week, probably Saturday and Monday, where I just take a break from YouTube. I don't mind doing it, but it's just sometimes it can be time consuming, and sometimes it's kind of draining you. Sometimes so you
Yeah,
just have to be able to do other things. But
I had previously put out videos on Saturdays, and they never really did good. It seems like everybody's kind of busy doing everything else in their life on Saturdays. So I just like,
right,
no, I'm not gonna post videos on Saturday anymore.
right. So Adam, what other advice would you give somebody if they wanted to become a full-time reseller? What other advice would you give them? And also, could you tell us a little bit about what you were doing before you became a full-time reseller? Because I know you said you were doing your landscaping business, but like before you started your landscaping business, like what was your like backstory? Like what was your experience prior to that? I'm just curious.
I was a salesman. I worked I worked for State Farm, so I was an insurance salesman, and not a good one either. Like I'm one of those people where, you know, my dad was a salesman all his life, and you know, so I guess I had the gene. But my biggest thing with sales and me is if you don't want it and you're telling me you don't want it, I'm not going to try and force you into it. Like, it's just not my thing. I'm not, you know, if I'm trying to sell you this cup and you're like, I don't really like the color, I'm not going to be like, red, you don't like red? I'm just going to be like, yeah, I get it. You know, not a lot of people like red. So I just never was really, I was average, but I was never really great. And whenever I decided that this just wasn't the direction I wanted to go in, I thought, you know, I'll fill the time with something manual, you know, just to make some money, keep some money coming in. And was helping a buddy out that has a local company around here. He builds, you know, stuff. So I was just started working for him, and I'm like, you know what, I could do this on my own. So I just spun off and, you know, did it on my own. And did that for many years, and then this happened, and now I don't, which is good, because my ultimate goal at some point was to phase out landscaping, because that takes a toll on your body, and you know, there's only so long you can physically do stuff like that. So it's nice to have something that I can kind of mold into, and you know, be a little less taxing. Like today, you were saying you had a little bit of a rough day. So did I. I took a tumble right into my trailer because my one mower just jerked me forward, and so my right leg is killing me. And it's like, this is why I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, I hope you feel better, man. Yeah, it's just cool life. You're gonna have good days and bad days. You just got to keep moving. But hey, let everybody know where they can go by and check you out at on YouTube and Instagram. I have all your links listed down below.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check me out, youtube.com/Pittsburgh Picker, and on Instagram is the Berg Picker, because Pittsburgh Picker was taken, and then Pittsburgh Picker on Facebook as well. So
okay, do you have any words of wisdom or any final thoughts or any advice, or maybe you could help somebody out if they're a aspiring full-time reseller? Let's put it like that.
I the best piece of advice I ever got was from Commonwealth Picker, and his advice all the time is just keep listing. And that's the best piece of advice I ever got, because the more you list, it ails all your problems, whether it's a negative feedback, whether it's slow sales, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, it's going to solve your problems, because you know, the algorithm is going to start kicking in for you. You're going to have more product. You might find that you'll sell something in bulk. Anything can happen. And so that's the best piece of advice I ever got. And that's the piece of advice that I would leave you with, is just keep listing.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to say hey to Will is in the chat, says hey, Jeff and Adam. Wanted to say hey to Art Vandelay, eBliss Reseller Solutions, Pika Resellers. Wanted to say hey to Sharon. I appreciate you coming by and hanging out with us today. And BK from the Rockies, and anybody else that I missed. Go ahead and follow our guest. I subscribed to his channel, I think last week when I saw you in the chat. So go ahead and support our guest. All the links are down below in the description below. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I have a brand new guest tomorrow afternoon. So I will see you then tomorrow. Oh yeah, one more thing. I'm supposed to be on with Resell Mama. I'm going to be on her channel tomorrow at 4. And then I have a new guest coming on tomorrow at 5. So I'm doing a double duty. So I will drop a link in the community section if you guys want to come by and hang out. Till then, you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys later. Go ahead and follow our guests. All the links are down below. Hopefully, I'll have you back on again sometime, Adam.
Yeah,
right?
Anytime, man. Let us know.
All right, bro. Thanks for coming on. I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.